Hello students, let me continue with my audio presentation from the chapter Silk Road. I already started with my audio presentation in my previous classes also. So I have given also many audio presentations. I uploaded many YouTube audio links related with this chapter. So let me continue from where I left in my previous audio presentation. I left in this line, curious I thought. It is page number 79. So let me continue from the next paragraph. I lay back down and tried again. Actually, the author is feeling restless. He can't sleep, and the most important reason for this is definitely related with his breathing problem, nose blockage. So I continue. I lay back down and tried again. Same result. That means it is very difficult for me to have a good night's sleep. I was on the point of disappearing. Point of disappearing means on the verge of disappearing into the land of naught. Actually, naught means nothingness. When something told me not to, and the author was scared that if I go on sleeping, then I may not wake up again. So that fear was at the back of his mind. So this line clearly signifies that part. I was on the point of disappearing into the land of naught when something told me not to. It must have been those emergency electrical impulses again. But this was not the same as on previous occasions. This time, I wasn't gasping for breath. I was simply not allowed to go to sleep. Now, maybe the second occasion, on the second time, he was actually not gasping for breath. But the most important thing was that he was feeling so restless that he can't actually have a good sleep. Maybe a new place, and obviously he is at the top of the summit, but maybe these are the factors at high altitude he is in. So simply maybe he is not allowed to go to sleep. That might be a reason, but there is no problem related with breathing problem, maybe because of the inhaler that he had taken, so that cleared off his nose. But at some point of time, at the back of his mind, he's thinking that if I go back to sleep, I may not wake up again. So that fear was there in the back of his mind. So he was feeling a bit uncomfortable to sleep. Sitting up once more immediately made me feel better. The moment he is sitting up, he is feeling better. But the moment he is about to sleep, that moment he was not feeling better. So sitting up once more immediately made me feel better. Immediately means all of a sudden I felt better. I could breathe freely and my chest felt fine. Even his breathing process in his body improved. He could breathe more freely and his chest also felt fine. But as soon as I lay down, my sinuses filled and my chest was odd. But the next moment, when he laid down again to sleep, at that time it seems that again the same breathing problem starts. I tried propping myself upright against the wall, but now I couldn't manage to relax enough to drop off. Now the moment is that he is getting very tired. He is actually very tired deep inside, but he can't sleep. The bottom line is that he can't sleep. The moment he is about to sleep, or the moment he is adopting himself to a sleeping posture, again his chest becomes too heavy, he can't breathe, and at the same time again he is in a sitting posture, not in a sleeping but in a sitting posture. At that time again he is feeling fine. So he is feeling uneasy. We can say at the very end, we can draw up a conclusion, dear students, that he is feeling a bit uneasy. So I continue. I couldn't put my finger on the reason, but I was afraid to go to sleep. A little voice inside me was saying that, and please underline this if you have the text with you, if you have printed out. So this line is very important. I told you about this line. I am repeating it again. I told you initially about this line. See, now this line is coming. A little voice inside me was saying that if I did, I might never wake up again. So I stayed awake all night. Now, a little voice, or maybe at the back of his mind, he was thinking that if I go on a sleep, if I go on sleeping, I may not wake up again. So maybe that fear or that dilemma or that tension was at the back of his mind. So he remained awake throughout the entire night. And obviously, the next morning, he went to the Darchen Medical College, and he was being accompanied and guided ably by Shitan. So let me continue that part. Shitan took me to the Darchen Medical College the following morning. The following morning means the next morning, Shitan took the author Nick Middleton to Darchen Medical College. The medical college at Darchen was new and looked like a monastery. Now, from outside, it can be said that it was newly renovated or newly constructed. And the most important thing was that it was looking less a hospital, it was looking more a monastery. I repeat, it was looking less as a hospital, it was looking more as a monastery. The medical college at Darchen was new and looked like a monastery from the outside, with a very solid door that led into a large courtyard. There is a solid door also, and if you open it, then you will be leading towards a large courtyard. We found the consulting room, which was dark and cold and occupied by a Tibetan doctor who wore none of the paraphernalia that I had been expecting. Now, I thought that a doctor will have the things common with him, like a stethoscope, and a doctor should wear the uniform that normally we see in a hospital. But here the Tibetan doctor was very cool and composed. He was not wearing any of the uniform that we associate medical doctors in the hospital. He was actually no white coat. No white coat. He looked like any other Tibetan with a thick pullover and a woolly hat. Underline it if you have the text with you, that his dress and his appearance was not like any regular doctor that we mostly visit or that we mostly come across in hospital. He was looking very different from the rest of the doctors that normally we come across in hospital, because he was wearing a pullover and a woolly hat. He was looking less like a doctor, but indeed he was a doctor. So when I explained my sleepless symptoms, so the author interacted with him, and the author told him about the problem he is facing. So I repeat this line: when I explained my sleepless symptoms and my sudden aversion means something related with dislike or disapproval, and my sudden aversion to lying down, he shot me a few questions while feeling the veins in my wrist. At that time, when I told him in detail the problem, the physical stress, when I told him in detail the sleeplessness by which I have been or might have been affected, then after listening to me, that is Nick Middleton, or after listening to the author, you can say, then he went on feeling his wrist. Veins in his wrist, rather. It's a cold, he said finally through Shitan. That means now Shitan, because Daniel already left them, so Shitan is now acting as the translator. In the course of the conversation in the consulting room or consultation room between the doctor and Nick Middleton, because the doctor is talking in Buddhist language. It's a cold, he said finally through Shitan. A cold and the effects of altitude. I will give you something for it. Okay, the doctor told Nick Middleton, and Shitan translated it that it is basically because of cold and cough, number one reason, and the doctor also highlighted that it might be because of the higher altitude. And the doctor finally told the author that don't worry, I will give you or I will prescribe some medicines for you. I will give you something for it. I asked him if he thought I would recover enough to be able to do the coda. Oh, yes, he said, you will be fine. Now, obviously, the author asked him, or Nick Middleton asked the doctor, will I be medically fit to undertake the coda? Coda, as you know, by this time it's a Tibetan term. It means a pilgrimage. So, Nick Middleton asked the doctor whether he will be fit to undertake his pilgrimage journey, that is Koda, to Mount Kailash, and the doctor told in affirmative, in a very positive manner, you will be absolutely fine to undertake the journey. So dear students, I am stopping my tutorial audio presentation right here. In my next audio, I will discuss from the next paragraph. So ultimately, some good news we can get for the narrator, because now the doctor gave him some medicines, and I want to say in advance it will work miracle, because the author will sleep very peacefully, and the doctor also told him that he will be perfectly fine to undertake the Koda, or we can say Koda is a Tibetan term. By this time you all know about it. It is about the pilgrimage. So I stop my audio presentation right here. In my next audio presentation, I will continue with the next paragraph. So dear students, listen to it, and any doubt, clarify. Thank you students. Thank you all.